Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with makeup artist Martí and Montse Ribé. They're nominated at the 2024 Oscars for Best Hair and Makeup for their work on Society of the Snow. Now, you two have worked together for quite some time. You both won an Oscar for Pan's Labyrinth. So how does it feel now to be back for a second nomination, 17 years later?
It's really strange because when we got nominated for Pan's Labyrinth, it's like, okay, this is the only time that this is going to happen in our careers, in our life, and then suddenly here we are again. So it's amazing.
We thought it would be the only one for Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, we are really happy and amazed that
and also because Pan's Labyrinth was something like, was a movie that was like original, and it's like a fantasy, but it's also a very serious movie, and it was Guillermo del Toro. So yeah, you don't think that it's going to happen again, because actually when we did Crimson Peak, we thought that would be the chance, but the movie didn't went so well. The ghosts were too much into CGI also, and the makeup branch decided to not go for makeup on that movie. So yeah, you never know how this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because these Oscar nominations now are for two very different films. Like you were saying, Pan's Labyrinth is like this otherworldly fantasy. Society of the Snow is so real, portraying these extremely brutal elements of survival and tragedy. So how do you prepare for something like Society of the Snow? And is that a different process than creating sort of these non-human creatures that you've worked on in other films?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the process is quite different, because on Pan's Labyrinth we had from the ideas that Guillermo had, we did a design. So and it's something that it's completely fantasy, even if you took some real references, but it's for textures, and you take animals. So it's like a mix based in real things, but it's fantasy and things that you imagine. But in the Society of the Snow, everything, it was based on the reality, and we had the responsibility to
be accurate.
Yeah, to be accurate, because the survivors are still alive. So everybody's going to see the movie, like doctors, the survivors, and all. I mean, people has in mind like how a person. Sorry, my English is not so well, and it's a little bit difficult.
The deterioration.
Yeah, the deterioration and the froze face. So the people knows how it looks, but also we had this responsibility for the survivors and everything. So the approach, it was completely different. We had to take a look to a lot of pictures, real pictures, talk to doctors to see what happened with the injuries and what happened on the mountain, on the snow, when you are so high, no, that the body reacts differently. So yeah, we had to learn a lot of things.
And I never told you this because there's so many things that are happening now. But the other day, a friend of mine told me that his friend is a doctor, and he went to see the Society of the Snow, and he said, I like the movie, even I don't like to see, these kind of movies, but I went to watch it just because people told me that there's frozen people and this and that. And the doctor said that it was super accurate. So we were like, well,
I didn't know that.
So, it was
That's
really
good.
cool. And the first question was if we were prepared. No, not at all. I mean, that also because, with Jay, we had done The Orphanage, The Impossible, A Monster Calls, and all these movies are very well. The first one, The Orphanage, is horror, so it's a different movie. But the other two were very dramatic. And when he came with this history that we already know that he had this history on mind for even before The Impossible. You know, we were like, oh, no, another drama. No, please, you know, like do something different. But he was like very into it, and for him was the right time to do it. So after the COVID and all this stuff, you know, like making this history is something very important for him, and also the fact that some of the survivors are still alive was also an important fact to, you know, to follow his heart and do the history. But we were not ready, and we were not ready to shoot as he did, because the plan was there's a set on the mountain, and there's a set like a stage that they built it there, up there. So that was built to control everything, because we have a volume, we have the screens and everything, and the plane. And that was very cool because you can control everything there. You know, it doesn't matter if it is raining or windy or this or that, you control everything there. And then we have another stage up in the mountain and another more higher to 3,000 meters. So the idea was to shoot the main thing, like saying like 75% of the movie or 80% of the movie on the stage, and then going up on the mountain for specific things, and you know, the rest of the movie. And he cheated us, because what he did is he changed completely. He did the opposite, and we were not prepared for that. And the conditions up there are really, really, really tough, and you know, it's hard to breathe, and the makeup seems to don't work the same when it's that cold. Like, there was a lot of things that makes this shooting much more complicated than we thought at the beginning, because we thought, oh, we will be on the stage, that's cool. But then, no.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is the biggest particular challenge with making these young men look like they're freezing? I mean, what's prosthetics? What's shading? How do you make them look like they're in these elements? The lips are chapped. What's that challenge, and how did you come up with the materials you needed to use for that?
Well, we have to say that, like, here's David and me, but there's Anna Putzerve, that is the makeup artist, and she took care about all the textures, the frozen faces, the texture of the lips and everything. And we did all the prosthetics for the injuries, the dummies, the dead bodies, but also when they were super thin, we put some prosthetics to help the actors look thinner. Not on everybody, because some of them, they got really, really thin, but some others need, like, we made prosthetics chin, and also cheeks,
Cheekbones.
and cheekbones, and also we put prosthetic teeth, dentures, because it looks like we realized that on the real pictures of the survivors, you can see the teeth, like it looks like the skull, it's a little bit going like coming out. Yeah. So it makes them like thinner in here. So we did some prosthetic.
That was something on the pictures. You can see that when they smile, it's like the teeth are like very, very out of their features, and that's what Montse was saying. When let's say that Anna is doing the makeup, let's say the color and textures, and we are doing whatever she cannot do, then we go on it. So the prosthetics. So when the makeup gets three-dimensional is when we get on it. So all the beginning of the movie, when they crash, that there's a lot of injurements and swallow eyes and all these kind of things is what we were in charge. Then there's characters like Gustavo that have bigger ears, which was something that GA was like, I want his ears. And production was like, this is going to be a hell. I mean, this shooting is very difficult. and you want to make this guy to wear ears every day. So this is very difficult. So everybody was against it, even us.
So he had so the real person had large ears. So you
Yeah,
had to make
Yeah.
yeah.
new ears for the actor.
It was something of
Mhm.
the character that for GA was like very important. It's like he can, you know, like my ears are like this, but if I do this, it's a big difference. So, and that was the difference with Gustavo, the real character, and the actor, Thomas Wolfe. So he wanted that, and we have to put that every day. So there was some characters that we made at the beginning very strong makeups, and then when we start to leave the character, you know, like already like just color, then it goes on Anna, and then Anna follows, and then when Anna was not enough for the thinning deterioration of the characters, then we go on it. And then there's something that we like a lot, which is when there's a character that is called Coche, there's a guy with beard and like those teeth and the cheeks and everything, and they are in the hospital already. And the doctors cut the pants, and they open the pants, they take out the pants, and you can see the thin legs of the guy.
Yeah.
So those are prosthetic legs. They are the legs of the guy are inside the bed, let's say, and then we put the fake ones on top. And they are movable. So when you see that shot, and when you see it on theaters, the very interesting thing is that everybody on the theater is like, oh wow, oh, there's like a very a very it shocks a lot when you see those legs. And this is some of the things that we are really happy to finally have done, because we have done a lot of stuff in this movie, but also not everything is considered as makeup, which is a side of makeup, which is all the dead bodies that we have done, and everything that you haven't seen, because what you can see in the movie, let's say, is the 30% of what we have done, because there was a lot more of the, let's say, how to say this, the meat, the skins, and this and that. There was much more.
And injuries
Injuries
that
and
we see.
the broken legs and things that, you know, we were shooting for days and days, and in the movie you just saw like a very quick shot. So yeah, that's
It looks seamless. I mean, and you can't see. I mean, it's not obvious. I mean, you look, it feels like you're there. That's what's so powerful about this movie. What is the key to making injury in particular look realistic? Because we see a lot of horror films where it's just like, I mean, over the top, but this is very like the bruising, the cuts, the right amount of blood. How do you dial yourself down, I guess, to make it look so real?
Well, first of all, we see a lot of real pictures from injuries, and we try to make it the same. But even that, sometimes the reality looks fake. So you have to find like a middle, no, like a balance from the reality and what the people has in mind. But in this case, because it has to be so real,
we had the contact with the forensic.
yeah, we had exactly a contact with the forensic, and yeah, I guess when you see a real picture that it's too strong, it's like take that picture and make it a little bit more subtle. Because if you make it exactly the same, it looks fake. Yeah. And even, for example, we did the swallow eyes in one of the two characters, Pancho and Nando, and this kind of injury, it looks fake because it was called panda eyes.
Yeah.
And it's because it's swollen and dark. And when we saw the real pictures, it was like, this looks completely fake. Even the makeup for us, it was weird.
We break that, but
but we should do it like it was. But because we had the doctors like help us, like it's like this, no, and they said, yeah, this looks real. Then it was really helpful this time, no, like that we good talk with the doctors.
But also, in a way, when you see a picture of the still photographer, maybe that have not been touched, have not been desaturated, because the movie, the DOP of the movie, Pedro, he have this idea of making all the saturated. So we were with Anna saying, JA is asking more red. And we were like, this is impossible. I mean, this looks like a tomato. Like it is not going to look good, but we have to play a lot with that dangerous thing that's like, okay, we are doing it to red. If you want to go backwards, then it will look horrible. If you are using this photography, okay, but at the moment that you want to do something, it's like you will see how red they are, how the bruises looks like to our eyes, they look fake because they have too much color. So, but on a screen, and when the DOP was like, yeah, this is what it's going to look, and we were like, okay. So you have to like do a believe that will happen, and it happens, because when you see the movie, it's like, when you remember, because we have done it, when you remember all the color that those faces have, and what you see on the screen is like, wow, this is so different. It's like, yeah, that was one of the things that was also something that at the beginning we were like kind of stopping ourselves to do that, because it looks fake, but yeah, at the end it looks really,
Which it made it very difficult,
Yeah.
because it was like working a little bit like blind, no, like it doesn't look real, but then it looks okay. So yeah.
You have to trust your collaborators.
Yeah.
So what is that like then when you see the final product on screen? I was blown away by this movie. I mean, I went into it sort of knowing the story a little bit, but this was way more than I was prepared for. And it was amazing. What was your reaction when you saw the finished film?
Well, when we saw it the first time, it's very difficult.
Just say it. We didn't like it.
No, but I mean, in general,
Really?
when you do a movie and you see it, it's like you see it as a technician, like, oh, this, it doesn't appear, we did that, it's not on the movie. So, and maybe because you read the script and everything, so maybe you have an idea in your mind. So it was like weird, because as David said, maybe you see the 30-40% of what we did, and it's like, yeah, Jota didn't put that or the other thing. So, and it was a little bit shocking. But then when I saw it the second time, I was completely amazed. I mean, it was like another movie, like different. And I was...
Because you saw it as an audience.
yeah, exactly. And I was so emotional. I mean, I came out of the theater like, wow. I mean, I was so proud to be part of that movie. I mean, it's an amazing movie. It's incredible.
But this is completely true. I mean, the day that we saw the movie, next day, JA called me and said, David, you didn't say anything. I was like, because I don't know what to tell you. It's not the movie that I was expecting to see. And he said, but why? I was like, because, where's the depth of this? And not, obviously, not only talking about our job, it's also about everything we should. And I was like, and what is this? And I miss this, I miss that, and that. And he said, like, look, if we have to put the whole thing that we should, it will be a movie of 6 hours. So we cannot do that. But that was the thing, is like, we were expecting to see all that we should, and then you see just parts of it. And then the first time we saw it as technicians, we were like, what is this? I miss a lot of parts. And then the second time, it's like magic. It's like everything catalyzed, because you saw it in another way. It's like another vision of the movie. And then you enjoy it a lot. And now, even when I look at, when we went to the bake-off and they put the 7 minutes of work, I was already crying, because it's like, oh, this is like goosebumps all the time, because it's like when you see the history of these people, and you know, and Numa talking the voiceover the movie, and when he dies and the voiceover keeps telling the story, and it's like, wow, this is just
And
so amazing.
and I think it was really necessary to do this
Yeah,
this film, because I think it's to honor the survivors, because you really can see for what they went through, no, like the difficulties and all the emotions and everything that the other movies doesn't have, no,
Yeah.
I think so.
the other
Yeah,
versions of the movie.
exactly.
I
So
don't know.
yeah,
I think
we're
that
super happy.
the
to-
humanity, the feelings, everything that is in this movie is like
yeah.
just amazing. But I have to say that there were some moments in the shooting of sequence that they are not on the movie, that just being there in the shooting with all these people in that tube. I mean, and the sequence were like, sometimes the takes were really long, because it was the way for JA to get the more emotions, and the work of the actors is just leave the camera rolling, and just if you do a mistake, just keep going, keep going, keep going. It's like more like theater than movie. And being there, it's like, and you know, you were watching your iPad, your monitor, and it was like, I mean, you cry. A lot of
a lot of
cry
people cry on the set.
on the
That's-
set, which is
It
something.
does seem, it seems like it was a particularly emotional set to be on, and you have these new actors, and they're all so great, and you're telling these true stories. So was it a different set than either of you have ever been a part of?
Yeah. Because the brotherhood of all these guys. I mean, I remember. Well, they were like amazed because we do makeup on them, and we were the ones that did Pan's Labyrinth and all these movies, and we got an Oscar. So they were coming from, you know, some were doing theater, some were their first movie. So for them, we were like, wow, this people is so humble, and they are doing makeup on us and everything. And I remember when we were up in the mountain that they put a picture of us saying like we were the favorites, and that was on the actor's room door, on the exterior of the on the mountain. And we were like, oh my God. And that picture keeps there, and it keeps frozen and melting, frozen and melting. And I remember the picture at the end was like, we look like monsters.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The-
that people was amazing.
they are super cute and super
Yeah.
nice people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to both of you for your work on Society of the Snow. It's such a powerful film. Good luck at the Oscars on March 10th, and everyone watching can currently stream Society of the Snow on Netflix. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the interview.